says going. Yep.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Do the roll call? Ready? Be fine. I'm here. Hold on. All right. How many can say here? Scott Bevington. Scott here? Okay. Gregory Cheeseman. Tyler?
Here.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna struggle with that one. Brad Coulter, I see Brad. Stephen Connor. Sharon Cranfield.
Here.
Dan Fountain. Chad Frank is not here. Kenan Gray is here. William Greer. Susan Hunn. Ron Jarman is not here. Art Kirtley. Brian Longbuns. John McCain is here. Bob McCoy. Sarah Mitchell. Ron Oler. Mike Baby is here. Diane Phillips.
She's in Alabama, and so she said she'll be at the, she's a new member, she'll be at the July meeting.
Jeff Plaster is here. Mary Richardson is here. Gary Saunders.
Here.
Steve Shoemaker. Andy Smith. Rex Snyder. Steve Sora. Dennis Spade.
Here.
Dale Strong.
Here.
Jerry Walden. Dan Wandersee. Gertrude is here. Essie Williams. Tim Williams.
Here.
Jeff Wilson. Richard Dean Van Winkle. Carol Yen and Greg York. Anyone I didn't say that I should have on there? All right. That was the roll call. Approval of the minutes. You should have received a copy of the minutes. If there are no additions or corrections, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is financial report, third quarter, Mary Richardson.
Okay, I think you've got the financial report like this. Would make a few comments on it. The 2025 year-to-date actual comparison is off a little bit. We know that, and it's going to be corrected the next time. This looks more like the last quarter instead of the year-to-date, so we'll fix that because last year the total expenses were $61,549.63. So we'll fix that. As far as 2026, it kind of not too many expenses, kind of self-explanatory. I am questioning the accounting. The accounting cost for 3 months was $950, so the annual is $3,800. And there's some question. I don't think they're doing an audit for that. It's just a matter of paying bills, which we write very few checks. So I'm going to defer that because I think on the agenda is talking about next year's budget and stuff. We can talk about that later. But I'm just kind of questioning paying $3,800 just to write a few checks every year. So, and filing the taxes. I mean, I do that for the town. Filing with the state and federal is very easy. So that's something that we really need to talk about at some point in time. The IARC dues is $21.25. That's annual, so they'll all be paying on that this year. And that's all I really have to report unless there's any questions.
Being no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report for the third quarter. Motion. Have a motion. Okay, and a second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under old business, board appointment forms and conflict of interest forms. Claire has a printout here that shows who has turned in.
Who hasn't?
But you're right, and technically is who has not turned in, and it looks like we were all pretty pathetic in the appointment forms, because pretty much none of us have. Union County, they've done a good job. But then whenever you get
Lead by example. Lead by
Have another talk. But on the conflict of interest forms, it looks like there are still some outstanding ones. I think you can kind of see there's kind of a pattern here, let's just put it that way. But I think for the most part, do you want to go through and list who has not filled out their conflict of interest forms? We can shame them.
I like public shaming.
In Henry County, we don't, Dan Fountain and Greg York have not turned theirs in. Randolph, that's one I said kind of as a thing. Gregory Cheeseman, Stephen Connor, William Greer, Bob McCoy, and Missy Williams. None of them have filled theirs in. Brush County, Ron German hasn't filled his out. Union, although they did very well on the other side, they were a little weak on this side.
Tyler, I have an
Tyler
extra sheet.
Clavel and Richard Dean Van Winkle have not turned theirs in. And then Wayne County, Brian Longbonds, Ron Oler, Jeff Laster, who's here with us today.
Hey, do you have an
I
extra?
have
with you?
so many
All right.
extra.
I have no conflicts.
Thank you. Amy Smith, Rex Snyder, and Steve Sora. So those are the ones we need to just make sure we follow through and get those turned in, because that'll make Claire's life a little bit easier. All dues have been paid, so that's a good thing.
I need to see Plaster's name on the appointment, so is he even allowed to be here?
Do Plaster?
Yeah, he's not on the appointment site, so are you even allowed to be here?
I turned in my form.
Oh,
He
okay.
filled out his own.
That's right.
He's his own appointment. Which I should have learned from him. I think I'm my own appointment. I didn't even turn it in. So all dues paid. Just curious, are we still hearing Randolph County?
I get responses from them. They already paid for the year.
Okay.
Missy Williams would be here, but she had a prior engagement. But she's really kind of the only one who still talks to me at the moment.
Okay. Well, as long as she's paying, we're good.
Yeah.
And I think another one that was kind of surprising, I appeared before Henry County, and Henry County brought up, are we still members? And I was like, because not even related to me being there. It was something just in a casual conversation. So I think that, you know, as we were driving over here, John and I were talking. John was not in his position at the time of the EIDD fold, but Jeff and I are probably the only ones still around from that time. And I think there's going to have to be some type of an educational program to teach the elected officials what this does, what this gets you. And it's kind of a tough, I think it's a tough educational piece, because in today's world, everybody wants kind of a quick result, you know. The attention span used to be like 30-some seconds, now it's 30. And people long-term used to be 25 years, now it's 5. So everybody expects that I'm a member of this, what's it do for me, and how do I benefit from it? And usually they're looking for a fairly quick fix. But in this case, it really, most of the time, isn't. It is a longer vision, and trying to have people understand that the EDA looks at these things really long-term, and they're going to kind of have a checklist of, is this program part of this? Is it part of this? Is it part of this? And our organization here is kind of the biggest component of it. So we had a little bit of this conversation in Henry County the other day about a grant. And so it's important to be a part of that grant, because that grant allows you to be qualified for probably, I'm going to guess, 10 grants. So in order to qualify for that grant, you have to have a check in the box that says you were a part of that grant. And so the local guys, especially right now, everybody is concerned about the budget cutbacks, and everybody's saying, well, I can just cut that. I'll cut that, I won't worry about it. But in 4 years, when you want to apply for something and you say, hey, by the way, am I in that? The answer will be no. And then you go, oh shoot, how do I get in it? And that's a much tougher path to get to than just kind of staying invested the whole way. But I think that, like I say, I think that maybe it's the economic development people, maybe it is some of the elected officials, but trying to go out and educate those boards just on, here is what we do, because again, it is an alphabet soup when you become an elected official. You walk in and it's EIDD, it's all these different things, and it's overwhelming, and you think, I'm just gonna vote to not be a member of that because I think I'm covered over here. But having an understanding that they're completely two different organizations or operations. So I think that's one of the big things, but it's good to hear everybody still is paying, but I still think that we're going to have to actively create a program to go out and have conversations with each of the counties. And probably with that, I wouldn't appear in any county without that county's economic development person, so that they understand, because they are the local link to that bigger picture. So
I've also talked to our EDA rep, Darren Fleener, and he really wants to help sit down with counties and their economic development groups and explain to them why it's important to be part of it. And that's like a really big thing we've been talking about lately. He just doesn't have any travel hours, so it might be virtual.
I know Gertrude met with us in Henry County when she was president. And I've sent out, that's surprising you said that, because after these meetings, I send out basically a bullet point of things discussed. And I forwarded your communiques that you, like the MDOT one or the federal transportation one. I've sent it out to all of our commissioners and council, and for them to have that conversation with you, just tell me they haven't read it.
right, and I think that's real. So, and we do the same thing. We had a meeting this morning of everybody, ask what's going on in the organization. We'll kind of give them a snapshot, but realistically, I would say 10 minutes later, they don't have any idea what any of it stood for and what they were really, so it really is going to take the region talking to the local person and keeping them abreast all the time.
And the upside is through our marketing region, Forge ECI, I don't know that Union County has a Lido, but the Lidos in each one of our counties have a wonderful working relationship, and if we can help, we probably should. In fact, I even suggested to you at one time of getting together every month or two with Lidos, whether it be for breakfast, coffee, cocktails, whatever it is, that we can all sit around and talk about what's important in our counties that you can bring back to the board, because Brad, you and I are the only Lidos on this group, I think.
As far as our Ready group goes, the foundation is acting as the Lido for that group. But we do have an economic development office here.
Yeah, they were invited. It's only 2 people that I think is there. Yeah, small. Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, the resources are spread thin, and they're going to be spread thinner. So just do the best we can, and hopefully the direction and the long-term piece of it. Under new business, I'm going to turn this back over to you because you know it better than I do.
Okay.
And that is for news from the EDA.
So I did send out an email last week. Maybe it was Monday. I really don't know when I sent it, but we did get the approval for our economic development management change. So that went through with the EDA. I have until the 17th to turn in our application to get the partnership planning program grant. And that would help us fund what EIRPC does, help us get more employees, which would be really nice to have someone else on staff. But what they wanted us to do at this meeting was vote on our match, which the match now is 40% instead of 50. So it's pretty great in my opinion. We're really just needing a vote on the match of $46,666. The total project cost is $116,000 or $666. So anybody have any questions about that?
I do have
Okay.
a question. So there are only certain expenses that can be counted towards that match. Have you analyzed that? And we have
Yeah.
qualifying expenses that total that?
Yeah, I went over that with Aaron about 2 weeks ago. We can't use it obviously like for the CHA project, but we can use it for salaries, supplies, travel, just get food for meetings. Pretty much everything we do, we can use it for. There's maybe one or two things we can't.
One additional thing I saw, when we were talking about the accounting expenses, that line item has probably been 10,000 since we've been in existence, anticipating that at some point, we'll have to do an audit, a full audit, probably by the State Board of Accounts. And once you start receiving that federal grant, that would become a requirement.
Yeah. Any other questions about the EDA? All right, if you want to call for a motion.
I will. Can I get a motion to approve the projected match amount?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Creating a budget committee. I'm assuming as now that we've kind of become real grown-ups here, we're gonna have to start looking at it as real grown-ups.
Yeah, the budget needs to be a lot more tight, thought up.
Yep.
Cause I've just been kind of going off what we've had previously, and I shouldn't be putting forward the numbers. I need you guys to tell me what you wanna put.
Sure.
Especially going forward with this EPA grant, like we really need to buckle down and say where money's going. So anybody want to volunteer to be on the committee? I'm gonna bring this up until we have about 6 people, so,
I will.
okay.
I'd like to.
I don't wanna be on it if she's on
That's too bad.
I don't want to be on it.
How many you need? 6?
I would like at least 6.
I'm not gonna be on there. I'm not running again, so I won't. December. I can help till December.
Well, we'll be done by then.
Yeah,
Budget.
because I'm wanting to have the budget set up like before our July meeting. Because it's kind of in our bylaws to do that, we just haven't yet.
I can help if we can Zoom.
You Tyler?
Tyler?
Okay.
I mean, it's not clear.
You ready for that?
I've letting other counties get involved.
I have
We have 2
5,
from
so I
our
have
program.
Mike, Mary, Jeff, Tyler, and then
You said you would.
until July.
You want
That's
6,
my
Yes,
thought.
please.
rather than put 2 from Union County, what about that Misty?
Missy.
And get some experience.
Yeah.
Put Missy in it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd only start by her name. It's like another department.
Hey, if she ends up, just shoot me an email and I can help on.
Okay. Union County update.
The Beaver Foundation, if you guys want to talk about what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm assuming you'll go over the ground floor grant stuff, or should we
Yeah,
loop
you
it all
can
in? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Olivia Tuning, and I'm the executive director at the Union County Foundation, and I'm here because we participate in our Ready region, but also because we're interested in economic development. So we own about 75% of this square out here, and so that's where we come in for this update. So we're really hoping in the very, very near future, like hopefully as soon as the summer, to start breaking ground on some development down there. Our first initial thought was that it would be a 3-phase project, and it would start with like a green space type of area, and then move into storefronts, office spaces, and then apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floors. And then we would do that again with office spaces, retail, whatever, dining on main floors, and then apartments on 2nd and 3rd. It's never not set in stone. We kind of just continue to look for feedback from the community and see who might want to come in and see how it evolves. But right now we know that we do want to do a green space and a 3 Seasons pavilion type of project, and that's what we're hoping to get started on this summer. So we're using funds from the Lilly Endowment, matching money, and then our own personal investment, and then obviously always taking for grants. So, and then we did invest in hiring Allie a year ago, like your 1 year anniversary is this month. And so.
I'm Hollywood.
Anniversary.
Yeah. So before I took the role as the director, I was a special projects coordinator for the county. And we thought that that role was incredibly valuable and we wanted to see that role continue. So the foundation decided instead of having it be contracted between our town and county, that we would just invest in hiring that position full time and keeping them as a non-contracted worker. So that's how Ally got looped in. And so her real focus is on developing a Main Street program downtown, which we don't have. So she's working on that certification right now so that we can be eligible for different types of grants. And then coordinating community projects, especially that involve the foundation. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about your role, but.
Yeah. Yeah, programs. We've got our Main Street organization established. We're a 501c3, but we're currently in the process with Okra to become an Indiana accredited Main Street, which then opens us up for Okra grants for our downtown development, which is much needed and exciting. So. Happy to be here.
A couple of questions. You said in the beginning of this, these aren't meant to be hard questions, I'm just curious. You said that we control, we said something, 75% of this block.
Yep, this one right here across the street.
The foundation.
So there's the buildings right there.
Okay.
We do not own those, but everything else we do.
Is that just the land, the open space?
The land and the little blue building.
Okay.
Yep.
The parking lot,
The
the
parking
big
lot.
parking lot.
What,
Everything is under one story.
okay.
Yes.
Clear land and everything under one story. That's probably a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And are you working with someone to,
We have an architect firm that we're working with. We're kind of debating whether or not we want to invest in a downtown plan right now. We know that the plans expire and they're expensive and you need to redo them every so often. So we don't, but again, really, really expensive. Do we want to spend $50,000 on that thing when we can put $50,000 towards the project when we already kind of know what we want to do? So we do have like the renderings and that sort of thing. We're just trying to decide for Main Street and what they might need, if that's the next kind of step that we want to do, actually doing a downtown plan. But we also don't need to put the horse before the cart because, is that how it goes, cart before the horse? Because we know she has to get certified first before a plan would even be necessary. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
How large is your staff and your foundation?
We have 3 people who work full-time
You're looking at 66%.
right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had 6, I think.
6 in
I think full-time.
Yeah, it was kind of a big investment for us to hire a new person full-time. But again, we thought that it was valuable to make sure that work continues.
Totally worth it.
anybody have any questions for them?
I think the concept of having retail business with living space above, second, third floor, that should be a lot of our downtown, small town, model to follow.
Franklin County had a ton of success with senior living downtown. And so we are kind of thinking about following that model where we have that senior living downtown for people who might want to downsize, and that would open up housing in the community. And there's grants available for senior living, so we don't have to find an investor to develop all these apartments when you can receive a grant for that, and the costs for you is much lower. We don't want to be property managers, so once we're done, we're done. We just want an office space, but we do want to see it happen. We know that we need it.
Do you collaborate with any other main streets? I mean, you've been pretty successful in Newcastle.
Yeah, we are pretty close with Franklin County. Brian Noah actually owns a business here and does the paper here in Liberty. He's the board president of their Main Street organization.
You might get with Emily Hurst and Henry. They just got a $2 million grant just for storefronts from the state.
They are doing great things. My parents live in Springport, so they spend a lot of time in Newcastle, and it's doing well.
So when they're doing, what they're doing down in Franklin County, senior above?
So they've already done it. It's already filled. But yeah, they what's the word I'm looking for? They redid some old buildings, the facade, right?
Yep.
I hate that word. So they redid the facade of the buildings and then added apartments behind. So the storefronts and the front of the buildings is original, but then they added all the apartments behind it back, and it's all downtown.
Are they doing that with elevators to get people to the second floor? Okay.
Yeah, so it's all like ADA accessible, and easy to get around.
And I think you have a minimum age requirement to rent those.
Yes.
Apartments.
Yeah, so
And I think
it's
that's,
just kind of a concept of.
if
how-
somebody can figure it out, and it does sound like Franklin County seems to have the best formula out there right now.
Yeah.
But it seems like ADA and fire are your two
Mhm.
challenges to try to figure out that second floor piece. Okay. Anything else? Director's report?
Okay, I've already told you guys about the EDA update. We are still working on the brownfield grant. We pushed it back to submit it this year. We already have multiple locations we're gonna be looking at here in Union County. We have a couple locations in Fayette County we're gonna think about looking at. And I think last I heard, we have one property in Wayne County, but we're gonna try to get more. We really pushed it back because we have to beef up our application. We were kind of told it wasn't good enough originally. So instead of submitting it, we just pushed it back a year, but we're still working with CHA. So we're still working on that. And I am gonna go to the education at Ball State, the economic development course. That'll be May 4th through the 8th. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It'll be there too. Heck yeah, all the fun. But I'm really excited about that. I really enjoy going to these courses, especially after the Okra one. I'm a grant administrator now for Okra, so if you need help at any point, let me know. Yeah. Even though I did finish the course, and the next day I was at a conference and they had changed everything I had just finished learning. So that was really fun. But I was told that's pretty normal, but I'm really excited about it. I was approached by Brad to help with a planning grant in Fayette County, so hopefully we'll get that going soon. And that's it. Anybody have any questions for me?
What, you said you're a grant administrator for Okra. Gosh, right before COVID, we applied for Stellar. What's the status of Stellar? I think they've re-homogenized it or reconstituted it or whatever.
I'm not sure. I've never honestly heard of Stellar, but I'm with like the community development part of it. So
Okay, you know, Bristol got a Stellar
Yeah.
before we even
Yeah,
applied.
we got Stellar when Stellar was a small community and a large community. And then they changed it and worked it into, Stellar became a kind of a regional effort. I think that lasted maybe a year or two. And then it became a Stellar County. And so I think they're rolling out a new Stellar, and I don't know what that Stellar is.
We would be interested in
We
finding
talked to
out.
the new director Tuesday, and they're going back to the individual communities being able to apply,
Okay,
but it also will allow for regional groups. And, you know, their definition of regional was any two communities
yeah,
applied together. And I think that's still gonna be the model for them for regional. But
and I think that's one of the things that makes it complicated for the elected officials, because I'm 40 hours, but he's not 40 hours. And so I can kind of watch them changing stuff.
Right.
But most of the elected officials walk in, and when I say Stellar, they're thinking that's Stellar. And it's changed a lot of times since. And
Absolutely.
every administration that comes in, I've said, I wish they would think longer term and say, okay, you know, so-and-so, the prior governor ran this program, and I'm gonna keep it pretty similar and keep going, because then everybody gets in a rhythm, they know what they're shooting for, where now they completely blow it apart. It usually takes 2 years to blow it apart. They rebuild it, and then you come out and do it, and they go, oh, I don't like that as much, so they blow it apart. So Stellar, since we won in 2016, I don't know how many people have won, I don't even know who the winners were. So it gets confusing, like I say, I think the tough thing is, the world we're in is, believe it or not, government moves slow, but still moves a lot. And keeping up as an elected official that's not a 40-hour person, it's a trying thing.
I want to correct you. I'm 40 hours, but I'm paid
Okay,
6.
that's true. There you go. Keep 40 hours, you stay sick.
One, when we applied kind of as a region, we were
2018.
We were the only truly regional application, I think, that went in, and of course we didn't win.
Exactly. Most of the other communities that applied as a region, it was
2 or 3 communities.
Greenfield and in Hancock County.
Yeah.
Something like that. And we applied in 5 counties. Each county had, I identified a city that had its own project. And after they allowed us to do that, put in all that work for a year, they basically told us in the exit interview why we didn't win. You're too spread out. Okay, well, that's what
Your regions. The last Stellar grants, was Dearborn County and Wabash County. They both got 6.5 million.
And I think that's a,
And Stellar underlined it twice.
that change in the amount made the winning them different in significance. So in other words, we got 18 million. So at that point, you're like, okay, you can see quickly that, oh, that may be one or two projects or a bunch of small projects that people wouldn't really notice or appreciate.
Yeah, that made sweeping changes for you.
There's another thing that is crazy as it seems. I think I might have been one of the only mayors to make it through Stellar and get reelected. Because for the most part, you get 18 million and everybody thinks, we'll get a piece of that, and they don't. It's very set up. And so a lot of people are disappointed in the fact that.
You got reelected?
They were, not only were they disappointed in that, they were disappointed in the fact that they didn't get money. Because like I say, it's tough because you're trying to educate them on, hey, here's this program. There are people who work in all kinds of industries and they just think, oh my gosh, surely my church will get some money. Well, your church won't get any money, and it won't go. It's very specific. So it is a very big high, but then there's a low to it that kind of bounces back.
Just think of the difference in the amount of money, because you got 18 million 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And-
right.
And 6 million today,
Yeah.
that's only half of 6 million from 2016. So the inflation has eaten way into the amount of money that might come your way. But having said that, 6 million is still 6 million.
6 million in Union County.
6 million would almost get our project done.
6 million gets you a library.
Yeah.
So the library edition costs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. 5.1 and
Our
all
library
incidents.
was 24 million.
I think open discussion. Anything else we need to talk about?
I might just throw something out as you're talking about main streets, and I think some of the main streets are in different levels of the state's certification process across the 6 counties. But have we thought at all recently about trying to coordinate discussions between the various main streets throughout the 6 counties, how they might work more collaboratively together and exchanging ideas or supporting each other in terms of education and helping the ones that aren't certified yet moving in that direction. I just think there's a lot of knowledge out there among the 6 counties that can be shared more thoughtfully with the ones that are having certifications.
I don't think that's been done.
Well, I was just thinking about the brownfield grant.
Yeah.
Because you got what, Union County, Rush, and Fayette. Well,
Fayette and Wayne.
Fayette and Wayne. I mean, those 3 could be discussing some
Yeah.
things on like what they're discovering. You got that map, I say, right?
Because it's
Pretty cool.
like your main location is
Yeah.
right there. So. And so, yeah. Sorry.
The last item on the agenda looks to be vote on location of 3rd quarter board meeting on Thursday, July 23rd.
So it most likely is gonna be Rushville.
Oh.
Because that's where we.
Aye.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're going in the order of how we've been rotating it, it goes back to the beginning.
We can coordinate that. We can make that happen. Coordinate.
And we're not gonna do it.
By we, I mean, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'll second it, maybe we don't.
There's also
I'll
that,
send everybody.
You're not allowed in Rushville, is that it too?
Thanks, Tim.
I got a call last Tuesday, the governor's gonna be in town on Thursday, and he wants a place to go and have lunch. Perfect, so I got months, we're fine. You may wanna remind me 30 days in advance, so.
Does that need a vote, Claire?
I just went ahead and put their name, so,
Okay.
You're welcome.
thanks, guys.
We'll just do that one by consensus. Anything else? Claire, anything? Now's your time to speak. Nothing.
Then just give me those appointment forms, please.
Okay.
Conflict of interest forms.
I signed up for
Yeah.
always just a conflict.
By the way, your lunch will cost you $50,000.
Just there.
I've seen it, so.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Hey, by the way, here's a quick one. These guys were in town this week, Go Rail. And it was a conversation, and John probably can fill in the blanks better than I can, but anyway, they came and they sat down and they talked about, continuing to fund the program. But in that program, there were some, and this was gonna be a little bit timely for, this gentleman, that they were talking about different programs that might apply for communities like ours. And some of them were Safe Streets for All. So in other words, that's one we just completed. Better utilizing investments to leverage development. So within this Go Rail has these programs. One was Rural Surface Transportation Grant. So there are grants out there in this area that are things that would fit a regional, that let's say we update our SEDS. Our SEDS should have, Connersville's looking to do some type of a rail program. We would want to mention that, and then we would want to mention that, hey, by the way, we're applying because rail was mentioned in our SEDS. And so trying to, again, it's really trying to tell your story and link everything together so that as they check boxes, you just keep checking boxes to where they say they've done everything to get us to where they're eligible for it. And like I said, the Safe Streets for All, that's a program that makes you eligible for about 10 more programs. So you can kind of see that it's kind of a drilling down program. And so keeping the elected officials in touch with, this is why we're doing it. This is not short-term, it's long-term. I think is the way to go.
So I have a question, would this program help like Connersville? I don't know if there's anything to be done. I mean, how many trestle actions? I mean, it's.
Not enough, it appears.
Yeah.
Please, let's bring up the trucks that get sheared off in Connersville.
Oh, I mean,
My favorite thing is getting on Connersville Speaks Out and saying, oh, it happened again.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad, I saw one in Indianapolis the other day, so you're not alone.
It happens.
It does.
Hey, Mike,
Yes, sir.
it's been a while ago, but we met regionally with a bunch of NDOT guys there at your place.
Yes. Yep.
And one of the ones that they said, hey, you got a shot at this, was widening the road. Is that gonna happen?
Well, we won the Safe Streets for All, which was that $1 million grant to come and study from basically, I forget what the road is in Newcastle that goes through by the Chrysler dealership.
Oh, three.
Three intersects.
38.
38, okay. So originally, the original intention was it was gonna be from the northern Henry County all the way down to southern Decatur County.
Okay.
And then they kind of came back and scaled it down, and when they scaled it down, they didn't just go interstate to interstate. They did go up to 38, is that what you
Well,
just said?
NDOT's redoing all of three through Newcastle now, so
we went through there yesterday, that's all.
you can't get through there. don't you?
So are they widening it?
No, they're
It
narrowing.
was already.
It's going from 5 lanes to 4.
And that was kind of a conversation I had with Greg York was, Greg was like, so when this thing started, so we won that grant, they came down, they studied it, they went around, they found out where accidents were. And kind of in a weird way, they came back and said, this grant is bigger than we're gonna spend. So we will go to each community and look at the 10 worst traffic accident locations and see what could be done to make them better. And so it ended up being a study of Highway 3 from 38 down to Decatur County. I forget where it ended in Decatur County.
74.
Was theirs at 74? Yeah, I think it was close to 70, near 74. And then they just went out into the counties and said, here's where we're gonna see if we can't help you guys. So that is completed. It's getting completed. I think at our next council meeting, we'll adopt it. So I think it's pretty much there. So now, again, now that makes us eligible to go out. So that's what's called the design portion of it. And now there's what's called the implementation. So now once you finish design, you can go back and request implementation money. So that's where we are on that. What will come out of it, don't know. My guess is we'll probably find more work on the small projects than we do in the big one, at least until we're out of wars and all that stuff. But at least, like I said earlier, it checks the box. If it's in our sets, if we've done this, if we've done every single thing they say makes you eligible, that's what we're doing. So.
And I have a note about the SEDS. I'm gonna be looking at, I think we did it with Ball State when we created it originally. I'm gonna get back to them, see what their plans are, because ours expires in 2027, and there's a lot of wording that has to change due to the current administration. We had a lot that was about, women, children,
Which had to be
Inclusion
included.
Yeah, which had to be. Yeah, and then there's also stuff about, I cannot think of the word, but like, diversity is one of the words that I couldn't think of.
Diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, DEI, but then there's one about just like, I want to say the environment, I guess that's a good word to use for it. Anything that's about nature or preserving areas has to go, or just be worded differently.
Has to go, like,
Not,
as part of it.
it can be a part of it, but you have to
So
choose
we don't
your
want to do
words.
anything with nature.
You want to, you just have to be choosy with your words.
Don't use the
We want to plant trees. You live,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
out.
don't use environment, don't use eco-friendly, like,
You have women and children, they're out.
yeah. We'd have to phrase that differently too, but there is a committee, some of you are on it, and I said you didn't have to do anything yet, but you're about to start having to do things, so. Put you on it, Jeff.
What?
They put you on it.
I'm on it.
Hey, can you say who's
Are
on
you gonna
that
tell the
committee?
people that are on it?
I was just asking Ken.
It's in the minutes.
We leaned heavily on the people who filled out their appointment forms.
No, I
Let's see.
Cheers. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.